Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is County Court at Law number 6 in Bexar County. We have our plea docket today. And today is the 28th day of October 2021. The cases we have set today are cause number 644603, State of Texas versus Sammy Ibarra, represented by Mr. Forrest Good. Cause 665462, State of Texas versus Daniela Mercado, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. Cause number 635353, State of Texas versus Joseph Munoz, represented by Mr. Michael White. Cause number 667041, State of Texas versus Paul Latimer, represented by Mr. Richard Garcia. Cause 640472, State of Texas versus Jaime Gonzalez Quintero, represented by Mr. Rene Vela. And 657885 and 662443, State of Texas versus Desiree Gutierrez, represented by Mr. Wayne Young. And we have one Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement. Cause 630275, State of Texas versus Juan Cardenas, represented by Miss Ashley Morgan. Our DAs in this case are Miss Megan Galloway and Mr. Eddie Villarreal. And with the first batter up are going to be Mr. Ibarra, Miss Mercado, Mr. Latimer, Mr. Gonzalez Quintero, and Mr. Cardenas.
Judge, may I give my spiel, please?
Yep, you may. Thank you.
All right, Pat, did you have something first?
Ashley has not checked in, Your Honor, yet.
Okay, well then we'll wait on Miss Morgan.
Okay.
Mr.
All
White.
right. Good morning, everybody. Please grab a pencil. I'm going to be giving you a phone number to write down. Attorneys and defendants both, if any, well, not the attorneys, but if any of the defendants reside outside of Bexar County or the state of Texas, or will be moving outside of Bexar County or the state of Texas, before you give your plea, you must advise the judge so that he can assign your case accordingly when it goes to probation. Now, for anyone that is placed on probation today, you will be receiving an email or a telephone call from the probation department. If you have not heard from them by Tuesday morning, when you wake up, then at 8 o'clock, you need to call the intake department. Their telephone number is 210-335-7446. Again, 210-335-7446.
I have put it on the chat for everybody.
The chat for everyone. It is your responsibility to go to orientation and sign those conditions. If you fail to do so, then you're going to be right back here in court via the Bexar County Jail, because the judge will issue a warrant for your arrest. Okay. Does anyone have any questions, defendants or attorneys? Is anyone moving out of state or out of county, or currently residing out of county or out of state?
No, ma'am.
Awesome. Y'all have a good day. Good luck to you all. Thanks, Judge.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, batting order call 644603, State of Texas versus Sammy C. Ibarra, represented by Mr. Forrest Good. Mr. Good, are you ready to proceed?
Morning, Your Honor. Yes, we are.
Thank you. Cause number 665462, State of Texas versus Daniela A. Mercado, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. Mr. Brendel, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Thank you. Next is cause 667041, State of Texas versus Paul J. Latimer, represented by Mr. Richard Garcia. Mr. Garcia, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, ready.
Thank you. And last in this batch is cause 640472, State of Texas versus Jaime Gonzalez Quintero, represented by Mr. Rene Vela. Mr. Vela, are you ready to proceed?
Present and ready, Your Honor.
Thank you. The first document I need each of you to identify your signatures on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. Mr. Ibarra, in cause 644603, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Was that yes?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Good, as attorney for Mr. Ibarra, is that also your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And clause number 665462, Ms. Mercado, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Ms. Mercado, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. In cause 667041, Mr. Latimer, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Garcia, as attorney for Mr. Latimer, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Thank you. In cause 640472, Mr. Gonzalez Quintero, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Vela, as attorney for Mr. Gonzalez Quintero, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Ibarra, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes.
And Ms. Mercado, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Latimer, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Gonzalez Quintero, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Mr. Ibarra?
Yes.
Is that correct, Ms. Mercado?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Mr. Latimer?
Yes, sir.
And is that correct, Mr. Gonzalez Quintero?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Good, as attorney for Mr. Ibarra, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Brendel, same question with regard to Ms. Mercado.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, same question with regard to Mr. Latimer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Vela, same question with regard to Mr. Gonzalez Quintero.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Ibarra, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Mercado, same question.
Yes, I.
Thank you. Mr. Latimer, same question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Gonzalez Quintero, same question.
I'm a resident.
Mr. Gonzalez Quintero, if you are not a citizen of the United States of America, a plea of guilty or nolo contendere for the offense charged may result in your deportation, your exclusion from admission to this country, or the denial of naturalization under federal law. Have you discussed with your attorney and been made aware of the mentioned consequences? And are you now knowingly still wanting to enter a plea to this offense?
Even if I'm a resident of the United States? Yes.
All right. Mr. Vela, have you had the ability to discuss with Mr. Gonzalez Quintero the situation regarding his immigration status if he enters a plea to this crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
And after your discussion with him, did he indicate to you he wanted to go forward with a plea bargain with the state?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Good, as attorney for Mr. Ibarra, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Ms. Mercado.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Garcia with regard to Mr. Latimer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Vela with regard to Mr. Gonzalez Quintero.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, Mr. Ibarra, on clause 644603, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir? I'm sorry, sir, I missed that. Was that guilty?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. The court accepts the plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense for Mr. Ibarra. State, is there an agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that agreement would be,
State recommends 180 days in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 12 months, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, VIP live with CatSnip as Smart Mobile for half the time, $60 to DPS, plus any restitution, if any, owed to Maricela Luna Martinez.
And Mr. Good, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, we do ask for the community service hours to be waived. I had sent over proof of my client's disability to prosecutors, and they said that I can ask you about that.
You're breaking up on me. What is Mr. Ibarra's disability? I'm sorry, is it a military one or some other one?
He was in a motor vehicle accident a few years ago in '92, which messed up his back pretty bad.
Okay, I apologize. I'm having a really hard time understanding what you're saying. Something back in '92 happened. What are we talking about?
He was in a motor vehicle accident back in '92. He's been on Social Security disability for a good chunk of that time since then.
Can he sit at a desk and answer the phone?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we'll find you something you can do, and if there's a problem, bring it back up to us at that time. But my understanding is there are lots of community service hours where all you're doing is answering the phone for certain charities and whatnot. So we'll look at that.
That sounds good, Your Honor.
All right, fair enough. Otherwise, everything's good, Mr. Good?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good to go. Hang on a second. Let me get the restitution issue down here. Did Mr. Ibarra have insurance, hopefully, at the time of this accident?
Sir. No, sir.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's see if I get this. Clause number 644-603, Mr. Ibarra, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year. Assess a $500 fine plus court cost. 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months, $60 reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety for a lab fee, and restitution, if any, to Maricela Luna Martinez. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Ibarra?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Ibarra. Thank you, Mr. Good. Y'all are excused.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Let's see what we're doing with Ms. Mercado. Okay, this is saying a DWI greater than 1.5. Is that correct, state?
That's right, Your Honor.
Ms. Mercado, in clause 665-462, to the charge of driving while intoxicated with, okay, your paperwork does not have the greater than 0.15. So theoretically, the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights should say DWI greater than 0.15. Is that correct, Mr. Brendel?
Judge, if I may,
well,
I
there's a
believe that.
motion.
Yeah,
Hang
I
on.
believe the state has, I'm sorry, Judge. I believe the state has a motion to make in this case.
Go ahead, make your motion.
Yes, Your Honor, the state moves to waive and abandon the 0.15 enhancement paragraph.
Now we're getting somewhere. Mr. Brendel, I guess you're going to object to that, are you?
No, Your Honor.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. So let's try this again. Ms. Mercado, in clause 665-462, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contendere.
Perfect. Court accepts the plea of no contest and to the charge of DWI first offense. Is there an agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that agreement would be?
The agreement is 6 months, Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months with a $850 fine, plus court costs, DWI education, VIP live, Start Smart Mobile for half the time, CatSnip, regular UAs, and 48 hours of community service.
And Mr. Brendel, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And state, just so you understand, during the COVID-ish situation, there are probably no live classes of victim impact panel. So my perception would be any way they can take their victim impact panel during COVID is okay. Is that okay with you guys?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, great. And also, all defendants in this court are taking at least monthly UAs unless there's a violation, and we would up to weekly UAs. So I'll be happy to add regular UAs, but that's already on all these probation requirements for future reference. Okay. Ms. Mercado on class 665-462, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the crime of DWI. First offense. I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for 7 months, which is 1/2 the term, regular urinalysis tests. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Mercado?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All good, Mr. Brendel?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, y'all are excused. Thanks for your help. Good luck, Ms. Mercado.
Thank you.
Let's see what we're doing with Mr. Latimer. State, you got a motion.
Yes, Your Honor. The state moves to waive and abandon the .15 enhancement paragraph.
No objections, Judge.
Objection from the defense, that will be granted. Mr. Latimer, clause 667-041 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Latimer in 667-041?
There is, Your Honor. 6 months, Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, an $800 fine, and we ask that the court probate $300 of that fine. Court cost, DWI intervention, victim impact panel, CATSNP, 60 hours of community service, Smart Start mobile for 1/2 the term, regular UAs, and $60 to DPS. In addition to that, Your Honor, the state will be formally withdrawing the MTR and cause number 645493. And we would ask the court to run this community supervision concurrent with the community supervision and cause number 645493.
And the defense, is that your understanding of the agreement, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, it is, Judge, and the same issue with the VIP live situation.
Yeah, no problem.
Judge,
Yep.
on this MTR that the state is requesting to remove
Yeah.
and withdraw, that case expired yesterday. Just a little background, he did pay in full and do all of his community service and the stress class, but he had 2 diluted drug tests. Being that the case is expired, the officer was requesting termination unsat. How does the court wish to do that so I can prepare the paperwork?
Okay, the MTR has expired, correct? The case hasn't expired. Is that
No, no, the case is expired. It expired 10/27/21. And if the state withdraws it, excuse me, then we need to terminate it. So I need you to decide how you want to terminate the case.
Well, A, the state and the defense and the court should have been advised that that was coming up in advance, right?
I'm not sure, Judge. I would assume so. But the state was fully aware of it and had already worked out the deal, was my understanding, which is why it was never put on the docket.
Well, my understanding is that both these cases were going to run concurrent, and then the defendant was going to finish probation on both cases. State, is that what your original understanding was?
Judge, that's what I was under the impression. I'm not sure if I'm the one that signed that MTR because I was not aware of that. However, I have no
Okay.
objection.
Mr. Garcia, at this point in time, I need to research this issue that was, should have been brought to our attention by the probation department at a much earlier time. So that being said, I can guarantee you that nothing adverse is going to happen to Mr. Latimer as a result of this MTR. I'm going to try to find a way to craft a legal means by which he stays on probation on that case and it runs concurrent with this case. Is that okay with the defense?
Well, Judge, Mr. Latimer informed me that the probation was supposed to be terminated next week, and that's why I didn't bring it up.
Well, it's not your job to bring it up, to be honest with you.
Susan, can he not extend it because the MTR is still active and it has?
Correct. Judge, if you choose to hear the MTR today, then what you could do if you want to keep him on probation on this case is you could extend it. However, he has completed everything on the case.
What is the basis for the MTR on Mr. Latimer on this other case?
Your Honor, that was the new number one.
It was the,
So the new number one is the only allegation on the MTR?
it's the new number one, the alcohol consumption, obviously for DWI, and then he submitted one diluted drug test. Other than that, everything else is completed and paid in full and done.
All right.
So, Your Honor,
Go ahead.
if I may, the state has no objection to that case being closed out and the defendant just going on probation on this DWI offense.
Okay, well, my suggestion to Mr. Garcia and the state is that we briefly hear the MTR, and that can be today or that can be whenever, and I'll deny it and terminate him satisfactorily, and then that will be in Mr. Latimer's best interest, and that takes care of the case, and it's clean and legal. Would that be equitable to the defense?
Yes, Your Honor, I think that's the wisest choice, and if we could do it today to get it
Well,
out
we'll
of
try to do it here. As soon as we finish this next plea, we'll do it. If we still have Ms. Gross, yeah, we do. Mr. Garcia, is that okay with you? And state, is that okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's okay with us, Your Honor.
All right, then that's what.
Judge, do you want me to send you documents?
Sure, that would be a wonderful thing. And
Megan,
anybody else need documents, Susan can fire them off.
Megan, you want 'em?
Sure.
Mr. Garcia, do you need them?
Yes,
I mean, you know everything that's on there. I've already told you everything.
I don't need them. We're going to terminate satisfactorily, and so I don't need anything.
Okay.
I'm going to terminate him satisfactorily, not unsatisfactorily.
Correct.
All right, let's see. And thank you, Mr. Garcia, for bringing all these complex cases to our entertainment value to keep us thinking about how to do these things still after 30 years. And 645,493. All right, let's see if I get this right. Mr. Latimer, clause 667-041. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of DWI, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, $800 fine plus court cost, probating $300, the $800. DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, 60 hours of community service. Is that correct? State 60.
That's correct, Judge.
All right, great. Smart Start Mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months. $60 fee to DPS for lab fee and reimbursement, regular analysis test. And the state is moving to withdraw the MTR. I'm going to deny that. And with the understanding that I'm going to hear the MTR and deny it and terminate Mr. Latimer's probation on that case, which is 645,493, satisfactory based on him taking responsibility for the new case, 667-041. Is all that correct, state?
That's correct, Judge.
And is all that correct, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, it is, Judge.
Okay. Susan, maybe we can do this. Obviously, the documents exist. I don't necessarily have to see them. Did you already send them?
Yes, sir, I did.
Stand by. Hey, you got that? 2-minute break while I print a document.
I think so. I'm gonna try to log in and, if it's not, I'll, give you a call.
Pat, this is Mike White. Is my client lined up for a plea?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
He's
Like, so they
taking
got a-
his little bunch and then he'll do the rest.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Pat, can you hear me?
Yes.
I sent in all the paperwork myself. I just called my client and told her to log in.
Okay, this may be her, but she didn't sign the paperwork?
I'm not sure.
She did not.
Oh, she didn't?
No.
I
And I've sent reminders. And I sent you reminders.
I know, and I sent mine in. Mine has been signed off.
Yes, you've been signed off. You have. She has not.
Let me call her. Let me put myself on mute here so I can
Okay,
call.
that's fine. You have time. You have time.
Okay.
Okay, back on the record, I've got 645-493, State of Texas versus Paul Justin Latimer. This is a motion to revoke community supervision. We have not prepared an actual physical document to be a waiver signed by the defendant and his attorney with regards to consent to having a motion to revoke probation hearing via Zoom. So we're going to do it orally if there are no objection from the state.
No objection from the state,
And
Your
no
Honor.
objection from the defense. Mr. Garcia?
No objections, Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Latimer, do I have your permission to hold a motion to revoke community supervision hearing via Zoom today without having an actual signed document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Garcia, do I have your permission as attorney for Mr. Latimer to hold a motion to revoke community supervision hearing via Zoom today without an actual document waiver?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so do it. This is cause 645-493, State of Texas versus Paul Justin Latimer. This is a motion to revoke community supervision. This isn't, my understanding is, Mr. Garcia, this is an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that correct?
That is correct, Judge.
Mr. Latimer, cause 645-493 on the motion to revoke community supervision. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
It would either be true or not true, sir.
Oh, what do I say, Mr. Garcia?
I think he's frozen.
No. You're going to plead true, Paul.
True. Okay, true.
Court accepts the plea of true with an explanation. Ms. Gross, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, and representing the Bexar County Criminal District Attorney's Office, Ms. Megan Galloway, Mr. Eddie Villarreal. At this time, Ms. Gross, would you please briefly advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Latimer's probation?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Latimer has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on October 4th, 2021. He has paid his case in full. He completed all 24 hours of his community service. He has had 10 negative drug tests, 2 diluted drug tests. He has completed the stress class. His criminal arrest history includes an arrest for theft 50 to 500, possession of marijuana 0 to 2 ounces, assault bodily injury, obstruction of a passageway roadway, and failed to identify to a PO with a Texas warrant. The defendant also does have a new driving while intoxicated, which was adjudicated a few moments ago. And his officer is recommending that he be terminated unsatisfactory.
And what is your request, Mr. Garcia?
Judge, we're asking that you deny the, or that you deny the MTR and find the defendant's probation terminated satisfactorily.
And state recommendation?
Judge, the state recommends term sat.
And Susan, I have a question for you on Mr. Latimer's last probation in cause 645493. Did he successfully complete the CAT-SNP outpatient drug course?
Let me double check. I don't believe that was a condition. Was
the last, was a resisting arrest? It wouldn't have been on there. I got you.
Yes, he only was ordered to do a stress class and 24 hours of community service, which he did successfully complete. And he had no drug or alcohol issues while on probation. It was just the 2 diluted drug tests, one which was some time ago, and then this one that was most recent, which is on the MTR.
Thank you. Mr. Latimer, in cause 645493, the court accepts your plea of true. I deny the state's motion to revoke your community supervision. Order your community supervision terminated satisfactorily. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Latimer in 645493?
Further from the state.
Okay, let me go over the final sentence on Mr. Latimer in 667041 and make sure I got everything down. In cause 667041, the court accepts Mr. Latimer's plea of no contest to defense of driving while intoxicated first offense. I find him guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, $800 fine, probating $300 of that plus court costs, DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety and New Intervention Program, 60 hours community service, Smart Start mobile home interlock for 8 months at 4 blows a day, regular urinalysis test, $60 reimbursement, Texas Department of Public Safety, and that's it. Is that correct, State?
That's correct, Judge.
And is that correct, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, it is, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Latimer, best of luck. You got a great lawyer there. Richard, always a pleasure. You're dismissed. We'll see you next time. And let's get the rest of these guys out of here.
All right,
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Latimer, you're going to go through orientation on this new case. Your old case, the judges terminated it. So that case is going to go away. You may get a new officer, you may not. I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
So just like everybody else, you're going to have to go through orientation again on this new case. So if you don't hear from probation by Tuesday morning, then you need to give them a call at that phone number, or you can always call your old officer. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
You bet. Okay, I'm trying to, oh, here we go. All right, State and cause 640472, State of Texas versus Jaime Gonzalez Montero. You have a motion.
Yes,
No
Your Honor.
contest.
The state moves to waive and abandon the enhancement paragraph and proceed on the Class B misdemeanor.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Mr. Gonzalez Quintero in cause 640472 to the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Is there an agreement for Mr. Gonzalez Quintero?
There is, Your Honor. 180 days Bear County Jail, probated for 16 months, an $850 fine, court cost, 64 hours community service, DWI intervention, victim impact panel, CatSnip, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and $60 to DPS.
And Mr. Vela, is that your understanding of the agreement? Mr. Vela still with us? Your microphone's turned off, I think, Mr. Vela. There you go.
I apologize. That is the agreement, Your Honor. However, my client is working 2 jobs at this time, and we would ask respectfully for the court to probate half the fine and maybe reduce some of his community service hours.
Okay, here's how this works. If this is a plea bargain, I can't jump in and start doing anything. If I have the state's permission, I'll be happy to consider all that, but the probability is I'm not going to change anything. But state, is this a plea bargain, or do I have the authority to modify your agreement?
Judge, in this case, I will go ahead and agree to allow you to modify that agreement.
Okay, Mr. Vela, expound on these 2 jobs that Mr. Gonzalez Quintero is doing.
Well, one of the issues, Your Honor, with this case is it's been hindering his ability to drive. He wanted to hire an attorney to get an occupational license. We talked about the fees. He informed me that that would be incredibly difficult to pursue. I informed him to contact other attorneys. Maybe they have different price structures. And it just indicates to me that he's having kind of a tough time. Maybe my client could expound on that if you'd like. But considering those issues that I hear a lot, he is a court-appointed client. So typically, they are in some form of need. So considering the fine and the community service hours, he's working 2 jobs, it would be hard to hit that $850. And I would imagine it would be hard to complete the 64 hours.
Where is Mr. Gonzalez Quintero working for 2 jobs?
At this time, I don't have those in my notes, Your Honor. I'd have to ask my client.
Let's ask your client. Hey, Mr. Gonzalez Quintero, what 2 jobs do you have right now?
Hi, Your Honor. I currently work at Roy Moss Youth Alternatives. So I work with sex trafficked victims and the homeless population, as well as mental health. And then I'm also teaching 2 classes to middle school theater at Will Rogers Academy. So doing case management for the shelter. You know, right now I've not been able to drive my clients to their appointments. And I'm waiting on a promotion. If I get this promotion, then obviously that would be more incentive for me in order to finish my probation successfully and pay all my fees.
Mr. Gonzalez, go ahead,
I'm
sir.
sorry?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so in my job, essentially I'm already doing community service with the populations that I work with. So would that count for anything, or I'd have to find a different agency?
Well, sounds to me like you should go to law school and give Mr. Vela a run for his money, because that was a very eloquent comment on your jobs and your community service thing. So here's what we're going to do. Mr. Gonzalez Quintero on call 640-472. The court accepts your plea. What was it? No contest? No contest. The defense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, $850 fine, probating $100 of that, plus court costs, 64 hours of community service, probating all of that based on your job is actually community service in and of itself. Thank you for your assistance on that one. DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile times 4 blows a day for 8 months, which is 1/2 the term, and $60 reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety. Anything further from the state or the defense of Mr. Gonzalez Quintero?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing from defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
Well done, Mr. Vela. Well done, Mr. Gonzalez Quintero. Best of luck. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did we get Mr. White back yet?
Mr. White, yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Ashley is in, and Young is in, out, even though his defendant, I believe she's in, but she hasn't signed paperwork yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who's here, but his defendant's not here? Mr. Young?
Mr. Young, I believe she is here, Your Honor. She hasn't signed the paperwork yet.
Okay.
I'm
well,
here. I'm in the middle of signing.
Sure, take your time, ma'am. Go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and go to Mr. Munoz and Mr. Cardenas, please. How's that?
That's good.
Okay, this is cause 635-353, State of Texas versus Joseph N. Munoz. And represented by Mr. Michael White. Mr. White, are you ready to proceed at this time?
I am, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next cause is cause 630-275. State of Texas versus Juan Cardenas. This is a Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement. Mr. Cardenas is represented by Miss Ashley Morgan. Miss Morgan, are you ready to proceed at this time?
Ready, Judge. I'm sorry I was late. I thought this was a 2.
Not a problem. Okay. The first item on my agenda is I need you to identify your signatures on a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. Mr. Munoz, in clause 635-353, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. White, as attorney for Mr. Munoz, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. In clause 630-275, Mr. Cardenas, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Morgan, as attorney for Mr. Cardenas, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonition that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Munoz, in clause 635-353, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Cardenas, in clause 630-275, is this your signature on this document?
Yes,
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Munoz?
Yes, sir.
And is that correct, Mr. Cardenas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. White, as attorney for Mr. Munoz, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Ms. Morgan with regard to Mr. Cardenas.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Munoz, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Cardenas.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. White, as attorney for Mr. Munoz, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have, Judge.
And thank you. And same question for Ms. Morgan with regard to Mr. Cardenas' case.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Okay, let's see what we're doing with Mr. Munoz. Okay, Mr. Munoz, in clause 635-353 to the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Thank you. Is there an agreement for Mr. Munoz?
Yes, Your Honor, there is an agreement. The agreement is 12 months deferred adjudication plus a $400 fine, plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, forfeiture of the weapon, DOEP, and yeah, that'll be it.
And what kind of, I'm sure this is a handgun, I guess. What kind of weapon is it? What make, manufacturer, whatever?
Yes, it was a handgun.
Yeah, but what manufacturer? Is it Smith & Wesson? Is it a
It
Colt?
was a Taurus.
Taurus. All right, Mr. White, would you be willing to accept this handgun in lieu of me destroying it with the understanding it was not to be returned to Mr. Munoz, his family, or his friends?
Would I accept the gun?
Is additional attorney's fees, would that be okay with you?
In place of attorney's fees?
No, in addition to attorney's fees. as
Oh, yes,
additional
okay,
attorney's
yes.
fees. All right, and
That's
Mr. Munoz, in lieu of destroying this gun, is it okay with you if I award it to your attorney?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, sir. What was that?
I said, instead of destroying this handgun, I want to award it to your attorney as additional attorney's fees. Is that okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thanks. And State, is that okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fair enough. Okay, Mr. Munoz, clause 635-353. Court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says a $400 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DOEP course. State's motion to destroy the weapon is denied. Weapon is awarded to defense counsel, the additional attorney's fees with the understanding it's not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Munoz?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing
right.
further from defense.
Good luck, Mr. Munoz. Thank you, Mr. White. Y'all are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
See you, Joseph.
You betcha. And
Take
this is
care.
630-275, State of Texas versus Juan Cardenas. This is a Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea, and probation agreement. Mr. Cardenas in clause 630-275 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or greater. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
State, I don't, the paperwork says guilty. I don't care if it's guilty or no contest. State, do you care?
Judge, the agreement was a plea to
Yeah.
guilty.
All right.
Guilty.
All right.
Guilty.
So in clause 630-275, the court accepts the plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. Is that correct, Ms. Morgan?
Yes, Judge.
Fair enough. Okay, Mr. Cardenas, the court accepts your plea of guilty, although I'm going to hold it in abeyance, place you on 1 year, Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial probation. Assessing $1,000 all-inclusive Veterans Treatment Court fee, 48 hours of community service, probating all those based on your military service. DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, 6 months Smart Start mobile, home interlock at 4 blows a day, outpatient drug treatment with either the Veterans Administration or another designated VTC provider. And there's no restitution on this case, hopefully. Nope, don't need to worry about that. Requiring your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court, issue judge's bond, defendant to be supervised by CSCD and VTC staff. And at this time, Mr. Cardenas, I'm looking at a document entitled Contractual Terms and Conditions, Track 1 Pretrial Intervention, which is a contract by and between you and your attorney and the Bexar County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all the requirements and prerequisites for your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. Is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Morgan, as attorney for Mr. Cardenas, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
And state, I have a signature of a Guillermo Flores. Is that some sort of counterfeit ADA or is that a real person?
Judge, I can confirm that that is Guillermo Flores' signature, and he is
Right, we
employed
got
by-
Mr. Cardenas now. We got him on contract. Okay, that's what I've got. Mr. Cardenas, what did you do in the military, sir?
Excuse me, sir?
What did you do in the military?
I was a heavy equipment operator for the Navy Seabees.
You were in the Navy?
Yes, sir.
There's nothing I can do to punish you worse than what you've already punished yourself by being in the Navy. Hey, thanks for your service, sir. And you're going to get a call from Ron Mora, I think. Chris, how's this going to work today?
Hey, Judge, real quick.
Yeah.
I'll give him a call, and also just to let you know, Mr. Cardenas has completed the DWI education and victim impact panel. So would the court be willing to give him proactive credit?
Absolutely. And thank Ms. Morgan for doing that every time. She's really good about that. Anything he's done in advance of probation, he's going to get credit for. Absolutely.
And
All
Judge,
right.
he
Sure.
also has pre-existing travel plans. He has a trip planned November 14th through the 17th for his anniversary.
Are we going to drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs during our trip?
No, sir.
That was a trick question, Mr. Cardenas. Yeah, he's welcome to go. Ashley, you going to actually file a motion?
Can you put it on the file? Or I can
Well,
file
I
a
don't
motion?
have a file. That's kind of where we're at.
Oh, okay. I'll file a motion, Judge.
You got my oral permission, but for it to go on the computer, I need something in writing. It doesn't have to be real high tech.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Cardenas. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Ms. Morgan.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, what else we got?
We have Desiree Gutierrez. She signed her paperwork, Your Honor. You need
I
to,
have paperwork already?
you need to sign it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Let me go off camera.